Well, hey everybody, welcome in to my remote viewing show. I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I had some more technical difficulties. Imagine that. Right before the show, it seems to be a recurring theme here on my show. But I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I have a fantastic show for us. I have Farah from the Conversation Cabin here with us tonight. She's in the studio, and we have a lot to talk about. She has quite the property, okay, at her house. There's a whole lot of activity going on there, okay. Let's see, I've got like my computer and this thing open. If you guys would like to go along with some of my remote viewing data, I have a Patreon where I put my remote viewing data for all of my shows. You guys are welcome to go become a member of my Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over there at Patreon. Also, if you'd like to follow along with all of my shows, I have a website. It's thecryptidhuntress.com. And all of my shows are there, all of my events that I'm going to be at, including the Dogman conference coming up in September. I'm scheduled to be there talking, giving a presentation at that conference, the Paranormal Roundtable Dogman Conference. That's Labor Day weekend in Fort Worth, Texas. Also, I have a shop. It's called War Woman Goods. And I'd love for you guys to go do some shopping there. I sell vintage Native American turquoise jewelry and a lot of other vintage goods. So you guys go do that. That's kind of like my fundraiser, okay, over here. All right. Well, okay. Let's get to our show tonight, okay, because we have so much to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and bring Farah up, okay. I've been in touch with Farah for a little while now, and I actually went on her show. She has a podcast, an amazing podcast. It's called The Conversation Cabin. I want all you guys to go follow her on social media and listen to her podcast. She has a property in Tennessee, northern Tennessee. She and her husband live in a large wooded property with a lot of high strangeness, cryptid activity above and below ground, and an ominous cave just feet from their back door. Despite having cameras all around her property, the activity persists and has taken a dark turn since Farah began exploring the cave in her backyard. Okay, now I also have our friend Drewski. You guys remember Drewski if you've been watching my Space Out Radio shows. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. I do have a show at Space Out Radio every Saturday and Sunday night at 10 p.m. And I had Drewski and Zook over on my show. It's Spaced Out Radio. They're with the Cryptid Warfare podcast. And tonight I have Drewski here with us. Let's see. I think I've got a bio for him. I'm going to go through it real quick so you guys will know who Drewski is. He's a warrior of the Almighty who understands that in the spiritual battlefield, living a life that is true to his faith is crucial. He previously served in the law enforcement field, has worked part of SWAT. And during his time in law enforcement, he served as a squad leader and helped with tracking and escape teams find convicts. He's also worked in protective custody and escorted VIPs and even ran a security team. He has extensive experience in bushcraft and survival and also has spent over 10 years doing Bigfoot and cryptid field research. Okay, so tonight I have Farah here. Please help me welcome to the show, Farah and Drewski. All right, let me bring them up. Hey, Farah.
Hi, Jessica. Can you hear me okay?
I can. And what's up, Drewski? How are you?
Hey, y'all. Good.
Hi, Drew.
Hey.
Hey, what up?
Yes. Okay. So, Farah, we're here to talk about your property tonight. And I'd love for you to give us a little rundown. I want to just welcome you both to the show tonight. And I mean, I also want you to talk about your podcast as well, because you have a fantastic podcast. Both of y'all do. But give us a little idea of what's going on your property right
now. Okay, so let's see. Well, long story, try to be short, because I know we'll get into other specifics later. But so I live on a 488 acre property in northern eastern Tennessee, I would say. And we moved here in November from Florida. We wanted a change. You know, I'm more of a woodsy country person. I was raised around it. I was raised in Western Pennsylvania, like I would say an hour north of Pittsburgh. So, you know, Amish town, Mercer County area. So I'm very familiar with the woods and everything. I love it. Wasn't looking for anything like the house needs some work. So we'll say that right up the bat. But I just wanted land, and we found it here. But since November, we've been having a lot of crazy stuff happen. I've caught everything from dark shadows in my front yard to on an EVP recorder. I've recorded a Bigfoot Hell, tree knocks, a bipedal, some, you know, above the cave, crunching on a bunch of branches. And you can tell it's not an animal. It's not a scurry through the leaves. It's a bipedal walking. And yeah, I mean, I've caught a UFO in the sky. We have like a train sort of rumbling underneath our home. And what I mean by that is that, yes, there are earthquakes here in Tennessee. There always has been. But, you know, we haven't experienced one yet. They might be like minor ones, but this is more of like how a train is on a track feeling. It's like a bump, 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 bump. Plus, we have like Apache helicopters going over our property, strange noises, strange orb lights. So just a lot of high strangeness, which has really opened up to my eyes even more than I already was to the paranormal and everything strange, because I have everything. A little bit of everything.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And now it's been freaking you out just a little bit, right? Because and it wasn't so bad until the other day when you started having issues with your chickens going missing. So tell us about that.
Well, first of all, let me take you back to 2.5 months ago, where when my chickens I raised little chickens. It was their time to go outside to the enclosure. So, but the weekend before I put them out there, when we were putting up the enclosure, we heard whistles that were coming from above the cave, which again, this is a mountain that the cave goes into. So that's directly behind my house. Actually, if you see the background, that's why I picked this picture. You can see the two small little entrances of the cave up top, but right there to the left, there's a huge entrance. And so above there in the woods, you know, there was whistling, there was breaking of twigs and branches. So it kind of weirded us out a little bit. We were putting up the enclosure, and then we get to 2 days later, I go and I investigate the cave. I did some dowsing rods work, spirit talker work, let's see, EVP recorder, you know, some things to just try to see what, you know, I capture. I do that every so often, of course, because why wouldn't you when you have a cave feet from your back door?
Yeah.
So
seriously.
But when the next day, then I put out our chickens, our brand new, you know, grown chickens. They're 8-9 weeks old. They're ready to go outside. And literally they survived one night, that first night. And then the next night I come out and I'm like, something doesn't look right, because I had 7 chickens. That's a good amount of chickens. You can tell that that's a good little brood. Yeah. And I knew something was wrong because it was not a big brood as much as it looked like before. And I counted, I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm missing 2 chickens. I automatically was just looking around the enclosure, and right at the front of the enclosure where the door is, on the right side of it, right there was a fist-size hole about this big. probably like my husband's hand could fit through it, but that's it. I mean, really. And I looked down and there was a couple feathers, nothing of the chicken, no leg, no talon, no eyeball, no nothing. And mind you, again, there's 2 chickens that are gone. So I'm walking around everywhere trying to find them. And then I just was like, well, I'm going to go into the cave. So I went into the cave, and right there at the entrance of the big entrance of the cave, the big one, because there's a few entrances, there was a couple feathers right there. That's it. Go now till a couple days ago, which I believe was Monday or Tuesday of this week. Now, mind you, I haven't investigated the cave since 2.5 months ago. So keep that in mind. Plus, we have cameras all over the property, including looking straight in the back on the enclosure. So anything that comes up to that enclosure comes out of the cave, into the cave. I can see my whole backyard. Nothing has been on there. Nothing. And it's worked fine. I come out the other day. After I had, like I just said, I investigated the cave recently for 2 days in a row, got some crazy action and everything. And I come out, and one of my chickens, that one actually right there, that's on the picture that you're showing right now, he was outside the enclosure on the left of the door. How he got out of there, I don't know, because he couldn't have fit through that hole. He was too fat and feathery. The other ones were drug from something to get through that hole. I go in, my rooster has all of his throat feathers torn out. There's no blood. It looks like blood, but it's not. It was his muscle where, like, his crop, above his crop area. That's why it was like kind of red in the picture, but there was no teeth marks, no scratch marks, nothing. It looked like something literally just tore his feathers out by like a hand. And then we go to, I'm like freaking out, and I'm looking for, again, a chicken that's missing, and there's no chicken, and there's just a few feathers right there by my enclosure. I'm walking around, I'm screaming, I'm crying. I go into a different entrance of the cave, which I've recently investigated those 2 days. And again, there's 3 feathers, and they're right there by the entrance. I go in the cave, go in all the small entrances and crevices that I could. Again, not a foot, not an eyeball, not a body, not any blood, nothing. And as you had put one of the pictures up, something had also stuck a stick inside the hole of the wire of the enclosure, like almost to shoo them to the front where that hole is made.
Damn.
Which, what could do that?
Wow. I mean, a lot of people would say, well, it's got to be a mountain lion, or it's got to be something, some kind of predator's gone in. But how many mountain lions or cougars could stick a stick through a fence like that? I mean,
well, I've also forgot to mention
for that.
Right, right. Well, I forgot to mention that my camera that looks at the back, the enclosure, the whole backyard, the cave itself, something turned it to the right a little bit to face more the road than the enclosure. And also it stopped recording at 3:30 the day before, and which I had showed you the video that I saw something, at the time from the other shed camera that you can kind of see the backyard and the enclosure. But something, because when I went to go and find out what was wrong with my camera, because we were upset, my husband was screaming. He's like, what's wrong with the camera? Why didn't it record anything? And he was like, he looked at it and he said, oh my God, it's like turned. Did you turn this camera? I said, Jake, I never touch the cameras. That's your department.
No.
And, but something, when I went into my app for the Arlo camera system, it said like a notification, and I tapped it and it said AC needs, it's pretty much like the battery needs to be put back in to the camera. Jake goes over to the camera and the battery's in there, but he takes it back out, puts it in, camera works just fine. So something was able to glitch that battery out somehow, some way, and turn that camera off, because again, we would see raccoons, possums, skunks. We've caught them all in our front yard, our backyard. They do not go near the enclosure. I watch them. They never go toward the enclosure. They're always by the creek bed, not up where the chicken enclosure is. But you catch them because I have motion, I have animal, person, and vehicle. That's how descriptive my Arlo camera can be. But it didn't catch anything because it wasn't on.
Interesting. What do you think about that, Drew? Ferris told you about this stuff. What are your thoughts on what may have taken those chickens?
Well, the way I look at it is, Farrah, you said that the nearest city is about 30 minutes away, something like that?
About 45 minutes away, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then you guys don't have any drifters that always walk around, stuff like that?
There are no transients here. This is Whitleyville, which Whitleyville, it's not even a town. Whitleyville is where I live, and then you go to the sign that says Whitleyville and go past it like 2 miles and you're done.
Yeah, I figured, yeah. And I was just kind of just like dissecting everything you're telling me. I'm like, okay, well, it's pretty freaking far out for a drifter to go. And not only that, if you look at the whole like survivability, right? You got your water source, you got food source, you got shelter, the cave, aka the cave, or basically that cave system you have. I know for a fact with Tennessee and Kentucky and all that, they just spread out like veins like everywhere. So who knows how far that cave goes? I can't wait till we get there to check it out. Do a little bit of spelunking, a little whatever. Yeah, I think not only that, it has all the telltale signs of honestly, I'm gonna say a cryptid, straight up.
I'm right there with you, Drew.
Yeah, like stealing chickens, got your food source, got a water source, got that river,
and there's actually
Go ahead.
Yeah. There's actually some more. I mean, you sent me also some pictures of, and by the way, thank you, Aussie Sue, for that super chat. And thank you, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, for that super sticker. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, let's look at these pictures of footprints. You actually had a print that looks very much like a Sasquatch footprint. In my opinion. And so let me see. And by the way, I have talked to Nick Valente of the the International Dogman Project. And Farrah, I know you've been in contact with Nick as well. And I had mentioned that part of my data said that this could be a Gugwe, like a face eater, right? Something like that. Like there's something similar to that on your property. And he and I had a long conversation about that because he believes that Gugwes are not regional to that area. Okay. And so we've both concluded, we think it's a Sasquatch on your property, possibly living in that cave. And probably more than one. Okay. Like a lot of them are on that property. This is a very heavy, something very heavy made that footprint right there. Very heavy, and it's very wide.
And I can see the toes. I can see the toe marks. And there's one that's in front of this footprint, and it's off to kind of the right a little bit. And it looks more like I told you. And I'm talking like a big paw print, like, let me go this way, like this big, not like a dog print or like I would say as big as like if you would, a guy's fist would go down, but it had a claw dug down in it, like a claw, like a long claw with like a slice in the top of the print. But yeah, I mean, I spoke with Nick and spoke with you, of course, and Drew. You guys are like, my lifelines, I guess I would say. Might as well go to the professionals, that do this for a living to give you everything that I have and then see what comes up. But I do know that I did have that feeling a few months ago when I got that Bigfoot Hell, that there was more than one, because the Bigfoot Hell came from across the street for me, like diagonal across the street by where the red barn is, like back there. And then the tree knocks came from right behind my house. And I wanted to tell you real quick, the thing that I was talking to you about right before we started that I was going to share with you. when I took those pictures for you the day before yesterday, and Drew, this is new to you too. So I wanted to, I don't know why. I know she's gone, but like I treat my chickens like babies. They're like my family. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna go find her body. She, you know, so I walked across my little bridge that's in my front yard to go out to the road that's in front of my house, not the main road, the back road that's in front of my front porch, I should say. And I was walking down a little bit, looking down to the left in the creek bed, which drops off about 8 to 10 feet, maybe even 12 feet. I'm looking in the creek bed, just trying to see if I can see some feathers or, you know, any blood or whatever. Now, here's the thing you have to imagine. If you look at the picture that's behind me, okay, so where you see the cave at, across from it, okay, is the edge of the backyard. And then you drop down, like I said, 8 to 10, 12 feet into the creek bed. If you would take a left from there, I don't know why, Jessica, but when I moved here in November, I always had a thought that if something ever came in my backyard, that the way that it would go would be down the backyard into the creek bed, take a left, and then go immediately to the left up starting in the mountain, because there's this little worn out path, which is very weird, but it's the only place that it's not straight up super steep. It's where it starts low, where you can actually like get a walk on, you know, you can walk and you can get up the mountain easily, not just be met with like steepness all of a sudden. Okay, so I'm walking and I get to that spot 2 days ago. And I looked and I was like, what is that over there? Now, where it's cut out, there's a tree that looks like something moved it out of the way. And then there, wrapped up on the ground in the roots of the tree is, do you know the stuff that you put down, the sticky paper stuff that you decorate, like your drawers where you put your silverware in? It's like sticky on one side and a designer thing on the top, like wood or
it's like tacky paper.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's one that ours looked like wood. And what we did was the cubby that we put for the chickens to nest in, it was open in the back. So I took that sticky paper and I took it, you know, and covered the back of it so nothing could see in the back of it. So they could be in their cubby and feel like they can only be seen from the front. I don't know if you can kind of follow what I'm trying to describe, but anyway, it's inside the enclosure. I had only ripped off the top part of it when I cleaned out the coop the other day because it was worn and ripped off. It came out from the staples, but the bottom was still there. Guess what was down there at that little dugout entrance into the mountain? Wrapped up in the tree, in the roots, was that piece. It's like maybe 5 feet long. And it was wrapped up in there like something, it stuck on something's foot, body, whatever, but all the way through, out of the enclosure, all the way through the backyard, down 12 feet to the creek bed, take a left and start walking up the hill. Now, what would have drugged that paper all the way down?
Right.
And I left it there because I want you guys to see it when, you know, you're here. Like I want you to see that.
Yeah.
Because that way it gives you an idea of look how far that thing had to come. An animal would not have been able to drug that through the entire backyard down a 12-foot drop and then into the, you know, start going up the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, that was inside the enclosure.
Wow.
Man,
yeah. There's just too many anomalies. Mm-hmm.
Right.
A lot of anomalies here. It doesn't seem like it's animals. Okay. It really doesn't. And you have these black Apache helicopters flying over your house.
Apache and
not
Black
only
Hawk,
that.
actually.
Okay. Or Black Hawk. Okay. And so tell me about you laying in bed at night. You and your husband are experiencing rumbling on your house at night. Can you tell the audience about that?
Yeah, very, very weird. So when you are, say you're just chilling in our bed watching TV, okay, and you know how your legs are out and your toes are up, we get this
Mhm.
like movement slash vibration slash rumbling underneath our house, but mostly in the bedroom, where, like I said, it sounds like a train. It's like shh, shh, and where our toes will go like this. And I
Oh, that's a
what
lot.
could actually move my toes. But if you go out in the kitchen, you can feel it like a vibration, but you feel it more over here in my bedroom. So that was very that was very weird. And we hear it a lot of times. Sometimes it's not even just the train noise. Sometimes it's like a grumble that you even hear in the skies over here, like above my mountain where the cave
Mhm.
is. It will only be over there sometimes or by the red barn. It's like something, some huge machinery is like digging or doing something. I don't know. But and
Mhm.
mind you, that's also the area where I think it was in February where when we were having a storm one night, um, we we were sitting in bed and all of a sudden, now mind you, if you look at my cabin, it's made with wood. And like I always try to describe it because it's the best way that I can. Like if you or I or even Drew were able to go outside and bang on my cabin, you would hear like a low, deep thud. Okay. Because it's so hard of wood. It's that old, back in the day wood. It's strong. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm doing
Mhm.
my best here, but
Yes.
something beat on. Now, see the picture of the cave. Okay, so look at my front porch and see the last window towards the backyard.
Mhm.
So, like you're walking my whole front porch, you get to the end of it, and there's that window right there. That's my bedroom window. Something between that
Wow.
window and the other window that's on the left of it in the picture, something beat on it so loud that my bathroom decor was shaking in the next room. We
Oh my
fly
god.
out, we fly out the sliding glass door that's down from that second window with our guns, and there's nothing
Uh-huh.
there. Now, mind you, I have a camera that's right there at the beginning of my front porch where you walk up 3 steps. So anybody that's in the front
Mhm.
yard, you could not sneak on my property. I will see you on my front porch unless you
Yeah.
go and you crawl up the creek bed and then crawl up as you see onto the front porch if you did that.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, this was something that was very, very strong, very, very beast like. So when we came back in 5 minutes later, it did it again, but this time twice. And it was like, well,
Wow.
we were just out there like literally 2, 3 minutes ago. So this time we grab our shotgun and my Glock because that's how loud it was. We were scared because it was a different, I just can't describe to you how it was not human. It wasn't human because it rattled the house. And we went out there and nothing again. And what could do that? And we had a back camera at that time too, and nothing was recorded. So what made that noise?
Oh yeah. I mean, you have all the characteristics and traits of Bigfoot. Okay, you have a lot of Bigfoot sign on your property, in my opinion. Um, the footprint alone, and that stick in your fence. I mean, I can't see definitively, but I do believe you have Bigfoots on your property. Um, Now, you've also had dogman reports in the area as well, right? Or people, have you spotted any dogman, or have people seen dogman in the area?
Well, first of all, one of the I guess, I mean, I don't know how other people would consider it because everyone's skeptical when they see pictures and videos, but there was one famous one that
Yeah.
happened right here about an hour or less away at Black Mountain. It's actually on YouTube where it's labeled like a, you know, good or best Dogman sighting, and it had like an alien almost look at the back of it, like something was sitting on the back of it. But anyway, so that's about an hour or less from my property. But 2 weeks ago, and I think I sent it to you too, Drew, the picture of what my husband had taken a picture. He was on the front porch all the way at the end, looking straight into the woods, and heard something, kind of saw something moving in the trees and took a picture. And it is a pitch black something. I don't know. I mean, it looks like it has ears. It's black so much that it blacks out. You can't see through the woods to like the other field, where when I took a picture and showed you the next day of me just taking a picture, there's nothing like that that's right there that is blacking out something like that. It's I don't know. It's just weird. But I also have had smell coming in from the air conditioner side of my house, because you know how AC brings in smells of outside.
Yes.
It smells like somebody dumped a blue barrel of piss, like dog piss, in our yard right there, but mix it with, like, if you were to put a penny in your mouth, that's kind of like the smell taste that you get.
Coppery. So a metallic urine smell. That sounds familiar. And I hear that about Dogman. There's a lot of urine smells that come from Dogman reports. And so, and Bigfoot as well. So
I would say it's either one of them, and they smell. Now, sometimes it will be mixed with like a rotten garbagey smell, like a foul smell, you know, like almost sulfuric, but not that potent. But it's I mean, where I have to like either leave the room, because 2 times I actually got sick, like went and vomited or tried to vomit in the toilet, because it like burned my nose hairs, but went like right up in here, but it made my stomach so sick. But also I was thinking about it. Was it the smell, or was it something like its presence outside made me feel that way?
Yeah.
Because I've smelled it before again, and I never got sick, but 2 times I did.
Yeah, Drew. So, you know, Farrah, before I get to my remote viewing data, because, you know, I remote viewed your property and all the activity that's going on there. Now, Drew, you have experience with cryptid research, field research. What exactly do you think this is, and what is going to be the approach? Because you and I are, and you've got a team of people also, a bunch of guys that are coming out to investigate in a couple weeks. What's the game plan, and what do you think we're dealing with?
All right, for us, well, old Ron Adale here mentioned something pretty good, like basically like underground bases, stuff like that, and chimeras. But that picture you sent me looks really hardcore, like a canine. And if he, you know, like you said, he pissed on the freaking right by the air conditioner. I don't know if he's like marking his territory. I'm just hoping you're not in the middle of a feud.
Well, I don't know if I told you. Maybe I told you, Drew. I'm not sure. But when we first put up the enclosure, the people that Jake works with, they had said something, because they're from Tennessee. I mean, their whole family's been here, you know. They had told him to pee around the enclosure to protect it. Really funny, because I forgot to tell you guys that he peed around the enclosure to like keep things away. And it's just kind of funny. I didn't put that together when something started smelling like pee right by my bedroom window, where something has to be that intelligent to know that an AC brings in the smell almost. It's kind of like my husband is facing off with something now. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to say it's not a bad idea for your husband to mark his territory.
Oh, heck no.
I'm just saying, I mean, we do that sometimes in our investigations and stuff. I mean, we're out in the woods. I think some of the guys, I mean, I don't personally. I'm a female. I don't go around marking my territory. But the guys do. you know, the guys do. They don't mind it. So
yeah, well, it is
it's
a lot
thing,
easier
right,
for
Drew?
us. Yeah, it's a lot easier for us.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah, but
it
you know,
is.
the whole game plan we got, me and the guys were talking, as you well, basically did a whole couple meetings we had with the guys on prepping them, getting them ready on like what we might deal with, might not, stuff like that. So my buddy Brian, he's bringing out a couple ATVs, so we're gonna go about it like kind of like squeezing kind of like the whole cryptid in. Basically, we're gonna start from the outside. He's gonna do like a perimeter check, set up some stuff, and then we're just gonna work our way in, and then we're gonna check out the cave. I'm bringing, if you don't mind, I'm bringing some chicken liver out. Just try to bait this thing out.
I don't care. Whatever you have to do.
Okay,
Sure.
cool. All
I'm
right,
not
yeah.
going to go against what you feel is the best way to do this all.
Yeah, so yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. Try to bait it up, set up some cameras, stuff like that. So just to see what we can do, and then if he's hostile, I'm just gonna say it, try to put it down. But if not, we're just gonna, who knows? Who knows.
One thing I'm worried about is, and for anybody that might be thinking this, I want to put this out there right now. I moved here October 31st. I pulled in at like 2 a.m. When I got up November 1st in the morning, the first thing I did was go to that cave, introduce myself, and I put a tobacco offering as well. So I'm experienced enough, 20 plus years in the paranormal and the strangeness, only about 5 years in like the cryptid type of research and investigations. But I know to be respectful. I know to, I literally walked in there and I said, hi, my name is Farah. I'm going to be living in this house for a while. It's beautiful here. Thank you. I hope you let me on the property. I put some tobacco on the stone. Like when you look inside the cave, the big stone that's kind of like a few feet away, I put some up there. I lit a candle. I just said, I hope that you welcome me here. I'll make sure that I respect the land and we don't do anything. We don't dig. We don't hurt anything. Yes, it was natural tobacco. Yes, yeah. It was. I do my research. So, but, I said a prayer in there. So I know what I'm doing when you mess with high strange, to watch your step, be respectful. They're not clowns. They don't need to touch things and push things and this and that. How I approach my investigating is, and you can see because I actually recorded a little bit when, I did this past week. You guys know I walk in there. I try to stay as silent as I can, besides letting you know I'm turning here, I'm turning there. I hear this, I hear that. I don't do anything. I don't carve anything. I don't break any rocks or stones. I don't take anything out of the cave. I'm there to research it and inspect it. And I have gotten voices. I left an EVP recorder over there inside there overnight and have gotten voices, shuffles. When I was in there, there was like 3 different mud sucking footsteps way in front of me, like down the bottom where I couldn't see anymore. But then 2 steps behind me right after that. So it's almost feel like I'm crowded in there when I go in there. Like, and Jessica, I told you the other day on the phone, I have never walked in there once and felt scared. I consider myself a badass bitch. I will go in there and I'm going to look for answers, and I don't care if I get scared. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But the other day when I went in there, I was flashlighting it down the cave, behind me, right, left, because I honestly felt, and I told you, I've never felt like this before. I was actually thinking someone was going to grab me. And I was even going through my head, okay, so if Jake comes home from work and I'm not in the house, okay, he'll know that I'm, he'll look in the yard, he'll see the chickens are good, that I'm not there, go in the cave. Is he going to be able to find me, leave something, drop something? I've never thought that deep into it before. And something made me do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's definitely one thing too. I like what what, shucking it down with cornbread's head. Yeah. Yeah, basically like don't show fear, but
names.
as us, yeah, their names are awesome. But as basically as kind of like me and Zook, like when we actually deal with this stuff, like I said, you guys know me, I go about everything basically like biblically. Like what he said, basically like don't show fear. We got to know our authority in God. We got to know our authority in Christ. And even though it's spiritual, they're interdimensional sometimes. Like I said, spiritual warfare, cryptid warfare, whatever you want to call it. We have to know our authority. And there's been a lot of cases where people, you know, have used in Jesus' name and the fear has gone away or whatnot, and vice versa. Or, you know, it could be physical too. Something's tried to physically attack them and they've said it and then it just stopped. So to me, like you said, with basically like with your land, I know there's a lot more to it. I know there's, like you said, underground bases when you did your whole virtual thing. Like spiritually wise, there's a big spiritual attachment to this thing. Big time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just want to definitely find out as much intel as we can on this, because it's messing with you physically, mentally, spiritually. So,
yeah. And I mean, of course, and I sage and everything. I have a sage kit and stuff like that. I do what I need to do, but it's almost like I don't know how I get the feelings that I do, because I don't think I'm a sensitive person or a medium. I'm not one of those people that claim to be, and I'm not. But I do feel that when I do that, I feel like whatever this is something way more powerful that this is not working on.
Yeah.
That's the feeling I get. And when I I know everybody's skeptical of the apps and stuff, but I do use Spirit Talker. And actually, I told you, Jessica, but when you hit my cave, before you even go in it where there's roof, it goes circle with a slash through it for no cell phone service, and I get no Wi-Fi in there. So how those words are popping up, and it said where we are watching you all. 10 seconds later, we're watching you. Be careful, Roman. Demons, there are demons, a bunch of different things that are in there. And I also told you guys too, well, I don't know if I told you, Drew, but the college has been researching this cave for almost 100 years. Tennessee State, they have pulled artifacts from out of there.
Okay.
So what was real interesting is Jessica's remote viewing, she had put Native American shaman, something to do with, and there was Cherokee or Chickasaw that had used this cave. And it's really weird, Drew, when you look at my cave, you notice like the two entrances on the right before the big thing, it almost looks like they're like little apartments. And then when you go inside the cave a little bit deeper, there's little cubbies above you, like ways that, and they're worn out, like someone's been walking up and down that.
It's a community. Oh, and I have a question, Farah. What about feral humans? Like, could there be feral humans? I just have to play the devil's advocate for a second. Could there be feral humans living in that cave? What do you think?
I'm not saying that there can't, but I mean, I don't know. To me, it just seems like not so humanish, if that makes sense. Like a feral are more people than like a Bigfoot is flesh and blood, but like a supernatural.
Totally.
I think I've shown you my light orbs that I've caught, like an intelligent orb.
Yes.
And, you know, a very good reputable paranormal group even reposted that, because they said we are the first ones to be skeptical about a light orb. But this here, that is something. And I really think though too that there's some type of alien beings here too. I'm getting a feeling of, and this is more recently.
Yeah. I personally think that. Oh, go ahead, Jessica.
Oh no, I was about to get into my data. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, because we'll go straight into the data, because there's a lot to unpack. Because everything that she said it's in my data. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go there after.
Yeah, just real quick. everything you're saying, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Call me crazy. I don't care. I don't care. With the whole history of it and Indians and stuff like that, I really think that they straight up cursed your
That's
land.
why I love you, Drew.
They just straight up. I believe
care.
that they straight
Just
up
say it.
cursed your land. Portals are opening. Like this is seriously like straight up, like no joke.
Yeah.
You know?
That's all in my data, Drew.
I know, Jessica.
I know you're excited.
Yep.
I didn't tell. We haven't told Drew yet.
No, bring it.
Right. I was just gonna say,
data.
yeah, wait till you hear her data, because the word cursed is one of the words she wrote down.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. So, okay. So right now, you guys, we are on my show where I do like remote viewing targets every week. And so I had remote viewed the land, and what I like to do before I go on an investigation is in my team, we like to remote view the property that we're going on to get an idea of what we're getting ourselves into and what the history is behind it and what's going on currently and any kind of, threats that we might have. Okay. And so I have a lot of data from your property, Farah. And right away, when I started remote viewing this entire property, because you have hundreds of acres out there, and plus that cave, I kept hearing this metallic sound. Okay. And it was almost like, it's similar to what people describe when there's a Dogman encounter, and it sounds like a metal dumpster is being thrown down on the ground. I was hearing something similar to that. Okay. Now, what's interesting is I was coming up, I was getting a Gugwe, like the face-eating Gugwe, which some people say is a mutant Sasquatch that's violent. It's more chimpanzee or ape-like, I guess, that's violent. They're called face eaters. Okay. Well, I'm going to preface this by saying that last night I was on a show with my buddy Mike with Abnormal Investigations, and he was telling me about, he is partly Native American, and he was speaking with some Native Americans where he lives. They were talking about the Gugwe, and they were saying that Gugwes are actually dogmen. Okay, there's no difference between a Gugwe and a dogman. A dogman is the white man's term for a werewolf, basically. But werewolves, Gugways, and dogmen are all the same, is what they were saying. So just keep that in mind, okay? Because that was in my data. Okay. And also, when I was speaking with Nick Valente with the International Dogman Project, he was saying that he just does not think Gugways are in the area like a mutant Sasquatch. He said that it would be either dogman or Sasquatch, probably. But anyways, I think it's just a label, though. You know what I'm saying? There's something on your property. And I was picking up on a multitude of cryptids. And I'm talking about more than anything, I was picking up on ET activity, okay, and UFOs. Have you experienced any UFOs out there, Farah?
I have a picture of a UFO that I caught in the sky, as well as, like I said, I get the feeling when I look at that light orb that I caught.
Okay.
I get a feeling that it was like a type of like an alien being that shows itself in that form to come around my property. And I've caught other crazy lights, through the field and stuff at night and back here. And no, not fireflies, because this was, granted, remember, I moved here in November. So a lot of the stuff that I caught was early on when I first moved here. It's 30 degrees outside. Right. It's wintertime. We just now last week saw our first firefly. Plus a firefly blinks out, blinked, this was lit the whole time. And what was weird, and this was even the weirder part. So my camera has the option where it either will record when there's some type of motion vehicle, person, animal like that. But I can also, when I want, go in and click to view it live. How I knew to do that, Jessica, and when I did that on the front camera is when I caught that orb. And it was like,
wow.
I was like, I'm gonna, because we just got them, and maybe it was because we had just gotten them and I was feeling them out. Maybe it could have just been that. I'm not saying that I had a premonition that I was going to see a light beam, but I turned it on. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking, I'm like, oh, this is a good setup, for the front, and then all of a sudden I see this thing coming, and then it stops right in front of me, like it's looking eye to eye to me. And it's like, and I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And it stayed there for like 2-3 minutes. I couldn't believe it. So, but yeah, definitely some alien activity. And you mentioned that it sounded like the garbage dumpsters dropping.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of hear across the road.
Really? Okay. Okay, well let's keep it going because I have a lot of data to unpack. Okay, so I was picking up on an ET base actually, and so I'm not sure if this base is in the mountain behind your house, but it's on your property somewhere. There is a base that contains ETs. Okay, and I was picking up a hub of an ET base, and there's something to do, and they're there because of the natural resources. Okay, there's some kind of minerals, elements, an energetic and a high energy. Something about radiation levels are attracting these ETs in. Okay. And Renee, thank you for that super chat. I appreciate that. Okay. Also, this is where the Gugwe came in, and I was picking up on a whole lot of alien technology. Okay. In your area. I was picking up on like suspended animation. I was seeing, I don't know. There's just a lot of strange things going on around an abandoned mine. Now, are you familiar with mines in your area? Like potentially a gold mine?
No, that's one thing I haven't looked up yet. But I will definitely look into that to see if there's any that, were here.
Okay.
When I've gone back into the cave, I'm not a geologist by any shape or form, but it could be just like a type of algae maybe, but I do see like a golden glitter come from certain parts of the cave, which Drew, I would like him to, take a look at that and see what that might be, because to me, it looks like some type of mineral or gold. But again, I've looked up pictures of, algae, some types of algae, and it could be that too. So, but as far as knowing right off the bat if there's a mine here, no.
Okay. Or it could be mica. There's a lot of mica in the areas too, like in the mountains. So something glittery and sparkly. But okay. So I was also picking up on X's, and Sasquatch make X's with the trees, which are markers. But I kept hearing, like, when I hear something, I'm clairaudient. When I hear something, I put it in quotation marks, and I wrote X marks the spot. So I'm saying that because in our upcoming investigation, we need to be looking out for cross trees and X's, any kind of X formations that we find on the property. That's going to be significant. Okay. Also, I was picking up on Sasquatch families, not a family, families. Okay.
Ooh.
So a pod, and yeah, that comes up pretty often when I'm remote viewing and a Sasquatch family comes up. I get the word pod. Okay. So I was picking up on pod again. I heard the word pod because I put it in quotation marks. But I was picking up on a lot of secret badlands, like the bad land, and it's cursed. Okay. And also there is an intersection of ley lines on your property, is what, according to my data. Okay. So that's why there's so much high strangeness there. Is it there? And maybe that's what the X is actually. And so I have a good friend who maps out ley lines, and I'm going to contact her before we go out to your property to see if she will plot out that the ley line map for me, and let me know if the ley lines intersect on your property. Okay. So I'll have all this before we get out there. Yes, for sure. But there is some sort of curse that kept coming up a lot in the data on this land, and that's why a lot of things have been stirred up. And Farrah, I honestly don't think that it says you stirred it up, but I kept hearing that. However, I think that it's been stirred up for a long time. I think there's some sort of, I would say, like an ancient energy there, and it has been stirred up over and over and over again. So I don't feel like this is your fault whatsoever. Okay. But I do think that something has been stirred up. There's a water source. Okay. Wait, there's more. Okay. So there's a water source that is a conductor of a lot of this activity.
Yeah, water's a big conductor.
If you have a well on your property.
Yes, we do. And we also live not too far from the Big Cumberland River. And we have, there's water everywhere over here. Okay. Not like in the immediate space, but you go a few minutes away and you can already start to see the river like on your way out of Whitleyville.
Okay. Okay. That would be it, probably. And I'm sorry, y'all, my computer's lagging behind a little bit here. But there's definitely a water source, and I kept picking up on gold. Okay. So and I think the gold has to do with what is it, some sort of mine that might be in your area, but there's definitely gold on your property somewhere. Or there was at one time, because I picked up on gold. I also picked up on spirits and like ghosts and things like that that are bound to the land. And and I was picking up, I kept hearing bound to the land and release it. So and then I heard a land clearing is needed, like the healing of the land or the land clearing. And I was picking up on some like Native American shaman data. Okay. So I felt like I was getting direct messages to bring in someone to clear your land. Okay. To spiritually clear the land. That was pretty much the end of my data. And there's more data here, but that's just kind of the gist of it.
Well, let me say real quick,
perhaps potentially some of this paranormal. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No, just real quick. You had mentioned that there were like spirits. I have caught dark shadows like darting in my front yard. Like it seemed like, I don't know how I could tell, but I had the feeling it looked like where they were standing was like in our front yard, but they were looking at me when I was looking at them. And then in a blink of an eye, they went like 6 feet to a different place. I have it on camera where you can see it jump from like 6 feet to another place. And it's just weird. It's like someone or something is staring down our place.
Sounds like your land needs a deliverance.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Deliverance. Well, it just needs a clearing and a blessing. I think.
That's what I mean by it. Instead of like an exorcism, a deliverance, you know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
No, I agree with you, Drew. I do. The only thing is that I want them to still be able, though, to have their land and not be off of it. You know what I mean? I still want them, because I always hate when I watch, things back in history where, we took a lot of this land from the Indians, and it hurts me, even though I wasn't back in that day. It hurts me that we did that, because this wasn't our land to begin with. Yeah. So that's why I did what I did inside that cave and on the land somewhat, letting them know that, my gosh, it's so beautiful here and I love it. And I've grown as a person being here. I started my dream of podcasting and everything. I feel like I have more energy, good energy here, but yet someone doesn't want me here. Also, there's stuff that happens inside my house too. Jake sees little black masses dart all the time in the corner of his eye. Yeah. And it freaks him out. And there's been something a few times while we're sitting in bed that has gone like this.
Wow.
To his head and stuff. And then you'll hear, like, if I'm in the kitchen or the living room, there's something that's here in this computer room that's like messing around stuff. Like you can hear things moving. So it's inside too.
Wow. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Because I definitely picked up on spirits, and so I think it's not a bad idea. I mean, my friend William Nighthawk could help us here, and Dennis Carroll. I did see somebody in the chat. I'm sorry, y'all. My computer is like so messed up tonight. So, but I'm trying to pull these comments up, and it's a little bit slow for me. But I have some people I will call before we head out there next week, and and we're gonna try to we'll try to work it out and see if we can't get some people to help us out, even remotely, to bless the land and to close it down. But I'm going to say after we come out there, though, let's investigate it, and then we'll do the land clearing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I want to do, because I want to see what
do you think, Drew?
no matter how much you bless.
Yeah, I agree that'll actually end the whole thing good. We'll go in there, do our
Yeah.
investigation, research, check stuff out, and right before we leave, we'll do our thing. So, yep, that's all I got.
There's a lag.
Heck yeah. Okay.
Sorry. All right, is it better now?
That's all you got.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree though. Research, and then before we leave, bless the land. So
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, Farah, are you gonna go back in that cave before we get there, or what's your plan?
be careful. Please be careful.
You know that I want to. I just don't know if I should, because I actually got my first video camera like since I moved here. And I want to kind of vlog my experiences, but I don't know. I was going to ask you guys. I mean, you're the even though I don't go in there and don't do anything bad. I mean, I'm just, how are you? And I'm exploring. I'm more that. I don't stick, tons of like I said, clown stuff for them to touch and press and do this. They're not clowns. They don't need to act for me. I'm in there to just, can I hear anything? Can I see anything? How does it feel?
Right.
And explore the rock and what it looks like.
Yeah. To me, since things are getting so hairy.
Yeah. Well,
am I lagging again?
I think it's
no,
Jessica.
that's me.
It's not
That's
you.
me. I'm lagging.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's me.
Okay. It's all good.
So
yeah, but
it's my computer and my internet, y'all. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. To me, I always go by saying, bring your battle buddy. 2 is 1, 1 is none, because things are getting so hairy at your land. I don't want anything to happen to you, and then your husband shows up, and what the freak, you know what I mean? Like, it just really worries me.
Yeah, I know, and it does.
Just be careful. Just be careful.
I will. If I do it, I don't go back far. I only go back more toward, from what I can see, I go about the middle, and that's where I stop. But that's all I need to go, because I pick up footsteps and whispers. And I actually heard someone from 305 Paranormal sent me the second investigation where I put Cave 2, I think, investigation. And she actually heard, and I heard it. There was something that spoke a word. I think I'll have to look it up again, what she said it was, but I can hear it. And one other thing I had heard when I was in there, and I'm remembering it now, but as I look back in the footage, I can hear something say, and it almost sounded like my voice, which is really scary. But it said something, and then said,
yeah.
But it sounded like me, and it wasn't me.
Yeah, to me, the reason why I would be careful is because these things are watching you as well. They're knowing your ticks. They're seeing what you're doing, and there's only one way in, one way out. So might be something in, and if you only go so far, it don't matter. That a Sasquatch or something could jump down and can block that exfil on the way out. Then what are you gonna do?
Right, I know. Yeah.
But
what do you do if it's an alien creature? When you bless it, it ain't gonna make an alien go away.
Bust out that Glock, girl. Start dumping some freedom fries in it. I don't care. Do what you gotta do.
Yes, I always do have that.
Freedom fries.
But anyways,
there's not much you can do with an alien.
Yeah.
But
anyways, girls,
not much we can
I gotta get ready for work. I gotta get going. So love you guys, and I'll chat with y'all probably tonight or sometime. And all right. Later.
Have a good night at work.
Later, guys.
See you, Drew. Have a good night. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So sorry, y'all. My computer is so lagging tonight. And Smooth Criminal, Triple OG, man, thank you so much for that super chat. That's really sweet. I'm trying to pull it. It's up there. It's just not on my computer, y'all. It's my computer. That's the problem. But Farrah, I'm so excited to come out and be able to hang out on your property, and it's really going to be a blessing to be able to go out there, and I can't wait. it's always scary going out to places that I haven't researched before. A little bit scary, but I think we're going to have a really good team out there, and we're going to do deep investigation into your property. Yeah,
yes.
it's awesome, and the fact that we got to actually dive into it tonight before we go out there, it's amazing, right? So we have an idea of what we're working with. Yeah. And I think we're gonna knock it out of the park. We're gonna find out what's going on. We're gonna heal the land out there. We're gonna do a blessing. We'll do our own blessing of your land.
That would be great.
I know my data said we need to get a shaman.
Think of anyone better to do it with.
Yes, we're going to do it because we are fully capable of blessing your land out there. And but I'm going to ask for help, and everybody that's watching tonight, and whenever you're watching this, please send good energy our way and to Farrah's way. Farrah and her husband they have lost a couple of their chickens, few of their chickens, and so please send them good energy and in all your prayers. And we're going to get to the bottom of it, Farrah. We're going to get to the bottom of it. So thank you for sharing your story with us tonight.
I have another batch of baby chickens that are about ready to go outside in about 2 weeks. And if I mean, every one of my chickens, I mean, they sleep with us, Jessica. Like our baby chickens sleep with us.
Your chickens sleep with you?
Yep.
In your bed?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So sweet.
And I try not to. Like they have their brooder, but they jump out of their brooder and they come right in. They love their mommy. So, like I said, I'm a big animal lover, and the fact that I couldn't find Smitty's body or the first two, to be able to bury them and stuff, it just really hurts.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. It's terrible. And so that's why we're coming out there. Okay. We're going to come out there and try to help. And, because we don't want you losing any more babies. When I was a kid, we had ducks. We would find duck eggs by the lake, and we would put them in incubators. And we also had ducks in our beds. And my dad, he still jokes around about how he'd come home and we'd have a duck sitting on the couch watching cartoons with us when we were kids. So I understand. I totally understand. We actually we raised baby geese and ducks. So and it's not easy losing our babies. And so you're very brave too, by the way, Farrah. Very brave. You are a badass. Okay. And yeah, we've got more work to do here, and also we're going to have to do a follow up. I know the audience is already saying that they can't wait for the follow up and to find out what happened on the investigation. So within the next few weeks, we'll have to get back and do this again. And yeah, absolutely. How is your husband doing right now? Is he handling this okay?
I will. Well, I told you the other day, when this all happened, he was a little upset with me because he said, you not in the like, you did this in a mean way. He was like, you went in that cave again and look what happens again.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it was my fault for a while, but I mean,
it's not your fault. It's not your fault. Yeah. It's not your fault. We're and look, we have so many people, everybody in the chat, they're sending positive, healing, protective energies to all your chickens and to you, okay, and your husband, to all your pets. You had a bird. I guess you did a video right before a show, and I had like a bird up in your on your shelf or something. Do you have birds in your house?
I have.
You have a lot of pets. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a green cheek conure. Well, yeah, we got the chickens, and of course, when I first got 7, I was like, well, this will be good. And then, and then I lost some, and that's what really made me get more, because I was like, I couldn't, it just made me so upset. And then, but we have Gypsy. She's a 2-year-old green cheek conure. She's like a little green parrot, with like some teal and yellow and red. And she's a sweetheart. And actually, I told you when Jake took that picture of that dog man looking thing, she was out there and she was looking like this, like how she gets scared when there's buzzards roaming in the sky. Well, there wasn't any buzzards in the sky. And
Yeah.
she said, Jake said, it's like she knew that something, oh, Larry, my friend, one of my friends, Larry, is here. So hi, Larry. Thank you so much for coming. And thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah,
Larry's
I love
in
animals.
here.
He's one of my new followers on my podcast.
Larry. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
thank
I
you.
love Larry. Thank you, Larry, for being here and for all the support. Oh, hold on. My computer's lagging a little bit as usual. Here, let's see. Larry just sent a super sticker. Thank you, Larry. That is very
thank
sweet.
you, Larry. You're so nice. Thank you.
Yeah. So sweet.
And thank you. I think it
Yeah.
was JD Smooth. Thank you for all the everyone that has been so kind, to say be strong and keep trucking along.
Yes.
Definitely. I thank you for your blessings and all of that. So thank you.
Absolutely. And okay, so Farrah, tell everybody about your podcast. You are so creative and so artistic and have the best storytelling skills of anybody that I've met in a long time. I love your podcast. Gosh. Can you tell everybody like what about your podcast and tell them where they can find it?
Sure, of course. So again, my name is Farah. I'm the host of the Conversation Cabin podcast. And first of all, you can find me everywhere like Spotify, Apple, Google, Audible, pretty much anywhere that you would stream a podcast. But I do everything from, I cover stories from the paranormal to cryptids to, extraterrestrial, alien abductions, true crime, serial killers, pretty much all of that type of genre. I didn't want to go with just one area because I think it's all linked in some way. But I not only, research the stories, write everything myself, but some of the stories I actually make into like a script play type where I do character work, different character voices, special music, like, if it's, I did a story on Jack the Ripper. So I took you back to like the 1800s with the sound of the horses on the cobblestone streets. And I do little videos on Instagram and TikTok to kind of, do an ad for the story to kind of show you about where I'm going with it. I wanted to do something more than just read a scary story. I wanted to have the listener, have the deepest immersive experience they could, like where they can feel that they're back in that day or feel like they're there or part of the action. So I love doing it. It's been a dream of mine. And I would love it if everyone, comes and follows my podcast. I think you'll really enjoy it. And if anybody here has a scary story that they'd like to share, you can either be on the Conversation Cabin or just type up your story and I'll read it. But you can email me at theconversationcabin@gmail.com. And other than that, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Like I said, everything is at the Conversation Cabin, and Twitter as well. But yeah, I would love if everybody comes and takes a listen, and that would make me happy.
Yeah, amazing. Everybody go follow Farrah, please. And we're gonna keep you guys posted on our investigation. It's coming up within the next week or so. Okay, so it's coming up quick, and I'm super excited to come up there and to meet everybody. We also have to give a shout out to Drewski. Okay, he's with Cryptid Warfare podcast, so you guys go follow them as well, and got to give them a shout out. He's gonna be him and Zook are leading up the team that's going to be coming out to your property. Yep. And I just happen to be a part of that team this time.
I'm so glad you are though, because I need another girl because these are like all, testosterone.
Oh man, we're doing it. And yeah, we're probably going to be documenting a lot of this too, Farrah, right?
I was just going to say, we're going to, as much as we can with the Wi-Fi cell phone signal that we can, we'll try to do a live, if it's out in the field and stuff. Other than that, though, now that I have a camera, I'm going to record it and post it. So also, that's what I do also is post the investigations on Instagram and stuff. So definitely go there if you want to see some things that I have done.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we have a lot. We have a lot to cover in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be getting in touch with some of my friends that could potentially help us do a blessing on your land, or to assist us in blessing your land. Okay, because I think you and I could handle this, but we could always use some outside help. Okay, and we're going to have a great time, and hopefully get to the bottom of it. So Farah, thank you so much for sharing this with us tonight. You guys, please follow me. Y'all come see me this weekend. I'm going to be doing some Bigfoot research in the mountains this weekend, but I'll be back Saturday and Sunday night on Spaced Out Radio. I've got a couple of amazing guests coming on. I will keep y'all posted about that. And
awesome. Let me know what you find. I'm excited.
Oh, I will. We're going Bigfooting, okay? And I got to get all packed up tonight, as a matter of fact. So it's going to be good. Thank you. I will. I always am. I got a good team behind me, so we will definitely be very safe. Just like I will be safe when I come up to Tennessee, Farah. I will see you next. Actually, I think it's like next week or so. I don't like giving all of our information out, but it's going to be pretty soon.
Yep.
And it was a pleasure, Farah. Thank you again. Okay.
Oh, it was an honor to be here, and thank all your listeners and watchers for listening to my story. I do appreciate it, guys.
Awesome. All right, Farah, y'all go check out Farah at the Conversation Cabin, and I will see you guys this weekend. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Bye, y'all.